All forms of pride leads to fall. Let me say it again. All forms of pride leads to a fall. Having pride about your age will make you feel like can't nobody younger tell you nothing because of this false sense of seniority, even if the information could mean life or death. Pride. Having pride makes arguments last forever because you don't want to seem like the weaker one. Even if it's at the expense of peace. Even if it's at the expense of being happy. Having pride about how clean and neat you keep things. Ain't nothing wrong with being clean and neat. I mean, you should be clean and neat. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Up until you nitpicking about every single small detail until you clock out on somebody for something small like having a dish in the sink or having a piece of lint on the floor. It's easier just to clean the dish or to pick the piece of lint off the floor than it is to be hateful to somebody about something small. You should never get mad at every little thing that somebody does, and you should never do nothing out of injured pride. Having pride will make you hold on to old mistakes, old mindsets, old ways of thinking that you had in the past, because you can't even admit that you've evolved and made a decision that you changed your mind about in the past that you could have been wrong about, because that'll make you seem weak. The spirit of pride always creeps in when somebody hurts you. It always promises to protect you so that you'll never be vulnerable to hurt again. It promises to make you appear valuable through possessions, and normally the conceit and the arrogance of your appearance. Pride will make you lie to seem informed instead of just saying, I don't know, or don't get me to lying. Pride is like a stubborn militant spirit that even if you traveling in the wrong direction, you can't admit it. You wrong. I'm going the wrong direction. I'm going in the wrong direction. But you can't admit it. Because you didn't build this false reputation of perfection based on a thin veneer of superficiality. See, evil spirits are far from stupid. Evil spirits aren't stupid. The spirit of pride is looking for a body. It's looking for a body to possess, so it can exchange your humility for itself. You know, it initially comes in with promises to protect you. This spirit knows that it comes next to fall. This spirit knows that it can't get you nowhere far. This spirit knows this. But it also knows a man who tosses worms in the river isn't necessarily the friend of the fish. And all the fish who take him as a friend usually end up on the frying pan. That's how pride works. When you allow the spirit into you to start operating. That's how pride comes in to steal your joy. And it eventually puts you on an island all by yourself. Now, don't get it twisted now. You might be able to fool a few people with an indiscriminate eye into thinking that you down to earth, into thinking that you childlike and full of wonderment, and that you humble. But eventually, people will find out that instead of joy, you're more into the sensationalism of gossip and the sarcasm of jokes that put other people down, using that to masquerade as being fun and to masquerade and being free. But if a person sticks around long enough, they figure out they're really your domineering, way too controlling, or subtly controlling, too pushy, too arrogant, too conceited, too superficial. You're not the humble type of person with childlike wonderment who does stuff like go camping and go look for tadpoles in the creek and put them in a jar and let them grow up into frogs. Or go to amusement parks looking for new rides and have fun. But instead, you wanted to be an adult even when you was a kid. To build these false maturity milestones for respect. It reminds me of the Titanic movie. Rose had a husband whose identity was based in the pride of possessions and money and stuff. He had earthly riches, but she met Jack, which was Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. He had that childlike wonderment. He had real joy. He never exchanged who he was for who the world would accept him for. He kept his authenticity. He kept his joy. He kept his wonderment. But when people find out that you full of pride, they run. They don't have no choice. They run. The Bible says the devil is the king of all the children of pride. Jesus said, in order to make it to the kingdom of heaven, you got to become like a child again. He's talking about somebody that's humble. Prideful people can't even issue direct apologies without feeling like they're too weak. Because when somebody hurts you, you exchange your humility in for pride to protect yourself, so you wouldn't seem vulnerable. But pride is a false sense of covering. It's an evil spirit.